GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. Live long and prosper, bitches.
Star Trek, The Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission, to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to boldly go where no show has gone before.
Naomi Wildman. I was setting it up. Oh. Welcome to the GNT show, where obviously we have no script.
Yeah, let's just get this puppy started.
As always, the beautiful, the lovely, the high-booted, short-skirted, big-breasted Terry Lynn.
That would be me.
Admiral Shaw.
She's badass. It's Ceridium.
Good morning. It's Sunday on the GNT show.
You know the worst part of this morning? It's not the getting up early. It's the fact they're making me wear clothes to do the show.
It's time for coffee clutch.
Strap on your helmets, boys and girls. It's gonna get rough.
Oh, it's going to be one of those mornings.
Let me put on my seatbelt, my helmet with the little blinky light on top.
For safety.
When we decided we were going to do the GNT show,
Man.
one of the things we said was no standards. GNT show does not go on the air because we're ready. It goes on the air because it's 9 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Mike could have snapped by then and killed us both. Pain sticks for Mike, evidently.
We have our production meetings on the air.
Well, it's the best way to get you to adhere to things.
Yeah, you've now set an expectation. That's the thing about the GNT show, is we set no expectations.
I need more coffee.
Wow,
I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to do general news or Star Trek news, and I figured
this is
out,
Terry
fuck
having
it.
a series of small
It's news.
strokes, actually.
Well, it doesn't take long for this show to deteriorate, does
Straight
it?
the fuck downhill.
I don't always podcast, but when I do, I G&T.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the GNT show, episode 138. I'm Terry Lynn.
I'm Anthony, but I'm Black Magnum. I told you it's early. I'm Black Magnum.
You are Black Magnum. Welcome, Black Magnum.
Thank you, and thank you for having me today.
We are so excited to have you. And joining us, as always, is our resident Klingon, Soaring.
Kapla! I'm awake.
He's nodding
God, that was
in and out.
perfect.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah, our two West Coasters are a little sleepy this morning.
Oh, I know. It's way too. Sun's not even up. Still dark.
Oh, yeah, I have to say here in New Mexico, it's just coming over the mountain. Really pretty, though.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Do you have like the red and orange and the colors?
We did a little earlier, about
Yeah.
a half an hour ago. We had that real pinky, because we have a lot of clouds in the sky right now, so they all turned that really pretty pink and orange. Oh, it was so pretty.
Yeah, I always like sunrises like that. It's really, really pretty to see that.
We get them all the time.
Then again, I wish it was Saturday. That way I have an extra day before I have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, we did wake you up early on a Sunday, sorry.
No, it's...
I don't understand how we ended up doing this. I think, oh yeah, what free time do you have? Oh, well, really, I only had like 3 hours on Sunday morning, and that's
There
how
you
it
go.
started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, It was just how it started, and it actually ended up sticking. And whatever. All I know is the people in Europe love it.
Well, and also it works well for Nick because it's like 9 a.m. So he can sleep in, get some coffee,
Bastard.
Exactly. Scratch and then get on the mic.
That too, So what did you guys do this week? Tell me a little bit about your activities.
Oh, my activities involved work, a lot of it. So, Terry, for my job, you know what I do for work.
Just so people know, we do this. We do the same thing.
We do the same thing. We do the same thing.
We can commiserate.
Exactly. So check this out. So here, I'm working, and one of the guys goes on workman's comp. So he's out, and we only have 3 adjusters in Northern California. And then I get a phone call. From the other guy, and he says, "I just gave my notice." So now, I'm the only adjuster left in Northern California.
No.
And I was getting claims up in Redding, down in Bakersfield,
Hey, I offered
Fresno.
to lend them my services, but they said, "Oh no."
Really? Interesting.
I think it's just because they had no openings down here. But
Right.
You poor thing.
Yeah. So my life is a living, breathing hell right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
So that's my week.
Well, I will definitely.
Minion.
He does need a minion.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. Oh my word.
Hey, the one with the 2 goggles, the 2.
Yeah.
That is so cute. Oh, I'm so sorry. That sucks.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it does. But outside of that, everything's well. Just trying to keep a positive attitude and moving forward. So. Yeah.
Well, that's all you can do. I mean,
exactly.
I just have to ask the caseload. Just tell me the number.
Oh God, I jumped from 15 to 90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really, really sorry.
Thank you. It's only
okay.
going up from there too.
See, in my new job, I took a caseload of 90 and spent the past 2 months, and I've chopped it down to about 35. So I'm
that's
really
good.
happy. I know.
That's
I am
very
a closer,
good.
baby. I am a closer.
Exactly. I'm a closer. Yeah. That's awesome.
And Mikey, what did you do this week? You've been writing?
I've been trying
Yeah.
and failing. Let's see. Let's see. Yesterday, Friday, I finally finished a vigorous revision of the script. But that was after spending like the first 5 days and 6 or 7 drafts of a 30-second segment, a commercial. Talk about frustration. I would write out one draft, send it out, wait for a response, get a response back, and then it was usually no, I hate it.
Oh, that's not good.
So back to the drawing board.
Oh no!
And like 6 times, either she hated it, I hated it, both hated it, and then finally I found it. I found the light. I figured it out and whipped it out, gave it to her, and she says, "Si, senor," and I was like,
So you whipped it out, and then she said yes. That's all I got from that.
That's about one way to put it.
Well, you said I was writing, I didn't like it, then she didn't like it, but then when I whipped it out, she said yes. I'm thinking, oh wow, if I had known that's the secret right there.
You're so bad.
Oh, that's funny.
That's so great. Oh man. Yeah, I ended up working, and we had Friday off. We have 10 holidays a year at my new job, and my CEO picks one and kind of just shoves it somewhere where in a month that doesn't have a national holiday. So this year he chose April 11th. So that looks good. And so we had Friday off.
Wow, that's nice.
It was great because it wasn't a national holiday. People got to, like, half of the women in the office were like, "Oh, we're going to the spa. We're going to get our hair done, and we're going to get pampered and whatnot." I, however, decided to stay home and game all day because I could. And
I don't blame you. I would totally do that as well.
It was so great. And then I finished reading the last half. I had been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, but I read the last half of Star Trek The Fall, The Crimson Shadow by Una McCormack.
Nice.
And I kid you not, I actually tweeted afterwards. I was crying at the end of this book. I couldn't stop crying.
Why were you crying?
Because it was so touching, and it was such a big, big book. I mean, the book really revolves around Garrick, who's my favorite character from DS9 anyway. Mm-hmm. And all of this takes place, spoiler alert, it starts taking place like 3 days after the assassination of the Federation president, right when Cardassia and the Federation were on the verge of, I don't want to say a formal alliance as much as it would have been like a formal establishment of diplomatic ties.
Right.
And her death, of course, throws that all into quandary. And how it affects Garrick, who is the ambassador to the Federation, is truly moving. And the way that McCormack writes Garrick is better than anybody ever, except for maybe Andrew Robinson himself. But he writes it in such a way that she brings in the wonderful communications between Garrick and Bashir. They write letters to each other all the time, and so you read these letters as the story unfolds. And throughout the whole thing, all you're doing is reading Garrick's letters to Bashir. He never fails. Garrick always gets a letter out to Bashir, and you're never reading a response, and you're kind of going, well, yeah, he just had to deal with the death of the president under his care. And so that's probably why he's not responding to him. But at the end of the book is Bashir's letter, and I was bawling my eyes out. I was It's just like she totally manipulated me into this complete emotionally wrecked state by the end of the book. And after reading what Bashir had just written, I was a mess. I was an absolute.
That's hilarious. Now, this is The Crimson Shadow. Is that the name of the book?
Yeah, that's it. It's the second book in the series called The Fall, which starts with Revelation in Dusk by David R. George III, and Una McCormick picks it up with this DS9 or this Garrick. It's actually a Cardassian story. Mm-hmm. The third book just started off as David Mack's in my bedroom right now. What's the name of it? Okay, let's look. Books are A Ceremony of Losses by David Mack, and I just started that book last night, and it looks like it's going to revolve heavily around DS9 as well. The one thing I really enjoyed about Una McCormick's book is that it also involved the Enterprise E.
Right, with Picard.
Right.
And Geordi LaForge,
Right, and Garrick is the diplomatic guest on the ship, and so he and Picard interact quite a bit, and it's fascinating to see. The reason now I understand why I love Garrick so much is because the way he's written is to be almost like the mirror universe Picard. They both come from the same stoic, heroic pillar of strength, right?
Right.
But where Picard would never do the things that Garrick would do, Garrick totally would. So they're like they're like the positive and negative of a photograph. What Picard isn't, Garrick is, and vice versa. And to find them finding not just common ground, but actually becoming almost a creepy understanding of one another. It's at the end of the book when Picard realizes where Garrick is coming from, and it kind of frightens him. It's great. It's really good.
So we're challenging Picard there in the novel as well.
Totally challenges Picard. Absolutely.
That's great.
It really is good. And considering what Picard had gone through at the hands of Cardassians in the show, it challenges him that much more.
There are 4 lights. So on your copy of the book, you have the Sovereign class Enterprise E on that cover, right? Every time I look, I love that ship. I absolutely love that ship. It's so beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
It is.
It is my favorite ship. I have 2 models of it in my office.
Do you really? Wow.
It's so pretty.
It is. Even in Star Trek Online, that's my favorite ship to fly.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the Fleet Sovereign. I fly that on Black Magnum, and it's my favorite ship out of the whole game. And I know when they released re-released the Dreadnought E and the Galaxy class, and everyone started flying those, I would not get out of my Sovereign.
Yeah,
still,
I don't blame you. I did get the Fleet Galaxy X, and Beth flies that right now. And I have to say, I'm having a good time with it. I didn't think I would, but I have to put some better gear into it because I'm consistently getting 3rd place in Crystalline Entity Elite. 3rd place.
Oh, you're not getting first? What is wrong with you?
I know, and I want my first place. Damn it! I want to know what that's like.
I know what it's like, and I did it in the Sovereign.
I bet you did.
I sure did. Oh, yeah.
Well,
see, I whipped it out, and she said yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some general news. I know that because we typically hit the general news under Coffee Clutch because, it's not Star Trek. Mr. Black Magnum, do you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I do not, unfortunately.
Okay.
Even though I did go see the movie, the Captain America movie.
Good. Okay.
I did.
Love that movie.
I saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And?
What the...
You didn't like it?
No, it was huge, I think.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, is it? Yeah.
I'm just waiting for that one guy to go, Hail Hydra.
I know.
And it's like, he didn't say it. And it's like,
didn't say it.
What in the hell? It's like, whose side is he on now?
But then again,
sorry, spoilers.
I was telling Sori that I'm a binge watcher, so what I would do is wait for a couple. Yeah.
Please do it now.
Just watch
it.
Huh?
Just watch it, and people are starting to freak out because now here's the thing, because it didn't pull the ratings numbers that they had hoped, and there was a big kerfuffle a couple of days ago. Even Alan says, I heard that it really took a dump, and well, reading the stories, it actually got an increase, but it didn't get as big as an increase as they had hoped. It pulled a 1.9 over 6 in the 18 to 46 range.
Ooh, that is low.
It is a little low. However, these same people are going, and look at how great Arrow is doing. And you want to know how great Arrow is doing? It's doing a 0.8, or 0.9. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still kicking Arrow's ass, but in the big scheme of things, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't doing as well as they would like. So please, people, watch this show because it's so good.
And you know what's interesting is I've always liked anything that Joss Whedon has done, and I'm surprised I'm not even watching that show.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm the type that would wait for a couple of seasons and then watch it all in a weekend.
And in typical Joss Whedon-esque fashion, right? Even Jed Whedon, the people who are putting this show together, have that kind of theme of an ensemble cast that you've grown to love. It takes a while to get used to a new team. And in last week's episode, like Michael said, it's, oh my God, everything got thrown on its shit.
Which was the point of what this last film did. And it's like...
It is, exactly. So if you've seen Captain America,
yeah,
you know what the hell happens.
I know exactly what happens.
It's like, what the
Hail
hell?
Hail Hydra!
Hail Hydra! But at the end of that film, you know where S.H.I.E.L.D. is, I should say, you know where S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't. So that everything that happens in the movie happens in the show. And phenomenal.
And of course, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing either.
You don't know who to trust. All of your characters that you thought you knew, you don't anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to watch this because since I've watched Captain America and I know what happens to Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D., I need to see what they do on TV after that.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting.
It's fun. I have to say it's been very, very fun, and I can't wait for Tuesday night. And like I said, all of a sudden, it always was appointment television for me anyway, but it was always one of those things that I always felt like I could record and then watch later if I needed to. Now, if I'm not... I'm sitting in front of that television at 6:55 and enduring the last 5 minutes of entertainment tonight so I could sit and watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that show because
Did you see the picture? Did you see the picture in the chat room with Samuel Jackson? Hydra, one more time.
I will. Hail Hydra.
Oh, that's funny as hell.
It is too funny.
I'm going to have to start watching it now, as appointment television. I wasn't before. I would sometimes wait, days before I would actually get around to it. But after last week, I'm like, damn it, I'm going to have to find it on the DVR and hit record.
I agree.
I would watch it just for Ming Na, but that's just me.
Well, she's so much fun to follow on Twitter.
I never missed an episode, but it was not one of those things where I had to watch it every week when it first aired. It was something I could delay a few days or whatever. But now it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, it really is. And totally binge watch. Do it. Just get on and binge watch it. As a matter of fact, I want to say before before Tuesday night's episode, ABC is going to replay last week's episode beforehand. So if you missed last week's episode, they're going to play it immediately before next week's episode.
You know what that
and
tells
Deathlock
me?
is cool. It's just
You know
fun.
what that tells me? That tells me that this next week is going to be, more of the same from last week.
It is.
More what the fuck moments.
There are five more episodes in the season. And somebody tweeted to Clark Gregg, who plays Agent Coulson, and said, oh my God, I can't breathe after this episode. Are you telling me that the season finale is going to top this? And all he said was, oh yes.
So is this a sci-fi version of Grey's Anatomy? Because anyone who watches Grey's Anatomy, I mean, you're either crying at the end of every episode, or your heartstrings are pulled, or you're got some emotions going on there. Is that
I have a feeling. Yeah, well, isn't that the sign of a great series? Really,
Yeah,
I mean, it's when you can suck in your.
I'm supposed to be a tough guy, and here I am crying and watching TV. I don't want that. Maybe that's why I haven't watched it.
I don't think it's so much. I don't get emotion. I didn't cry. Well, Coulson does it to me. I will cry if anything happens to Coulson. But I'm not quite to that point. I find it much more exciting. It's more in that big soap opera-ish, cliffhanger-ish, oh, you never know, twisty-turny, what's going to happen kind of a way, where you're excited to find out, oh, what's going to happen next. That's what I appreciate about the show.
Yeah.
So, Oh,
Well, it's time for me to start binge watching a new show, which will be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Just the way- So then start watching it, and then it would be okay because it needs the ratings. I can't lose this show. I don't know what I would do.
I hope they keep it going. I really do.
I hope so too, because it's great and it really does. It's so much fun to see an IP so integrally connected to films.
Right. This is awesome.
know?
I mean, I actually,
So unique.
before you mentioned that, when I went to see the movie Captain America and I watched it, I mentioned it that I went to see it when I came back. I got online. I was playing Star Trek Online, and somebody says there's a show called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you should watch it because it follows what the movie did. It will now do what the movie did, and I'm like, that's weird. But now that after you explaining it, now all the pieces are falling together, and I'm like, I saw that movie. I knew what happened to S.H.I.E.L.D. I knew what happened to Hydra. Well, this is interesting. They're going to keep it going. So that I can see where the twist is.
It was actually really cool. And I'm not giving away a lot by the show. But, the show always opens with the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo, which is this, I hate to say, almost Nazi-like eagle. This S.H.I.E.L.D. logo is this eagle, right? Well, at the end of the show, instead of showing the eagle logo, it shows the Hydra logo. And I was like, kind of what they did with the Mirror Universe episodes in Enterprise, right? When they opened up, instead of having like Star Trek, the regular universe, it had all new music and then the Mirror Universe logo on there. That was awesome. So it was very fun. I enjoyed it very much, and you guys have got to watch the show. All right, on to other news. Star Trek news. I am so proud to be a talkie geek.
We've got our problems with the film, which we'll get into on our dopey little podcast and nitpick it to death.
Star Trek news.
So congratulations to the always dreamy David Mack.
There's Legos?
No.
Star Trek news.
Yes, the story behind the story. The movie that never was made.
They got a Klingon!
I know.
Sold.
Klingon. That's right. I'm going to throw in a Buck Mackay rookie guard. That's right. A Buck Mackay for people. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
Star Trek news. Yesterday, I watched, which was freaking interesting. Yesterday was the christening for the U.S. Navy's first in its class guided missile destroyer called the Zumwalt. The Zumwalt class. It's also called the USS Zumwalt.
Ooh, that thing looks sexy.
Isn't it, bitchin'?
It's beautiful. Look at that thing.
And the USS Zumwalt is named for Admiral Elmo Zumwalt, who was the chief of naval operations in the 70s and was responsible for changes in naval procedure allowed for blacks and women to serve on active ships.
Wait, black people couldn't serve on a ship before?
There were a lot of issues with regard to the integration of African Americans in our Navy. And
who cooked the food?
Yeah, tell me about it. No, you know what I mean by active. They wanted to serve. So, which is appropriate considering the captain of the ship, as everybody should know by now, is Captain James A. Kirk.
I heard about that.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. There's a real Captain Kirk in the Navy.
Right. And he was the most patient, the most tolerant, the most good-natured man I had ever seen during a very long commissioning ceremony where everybody who spoke, and I kid you not, every single person who spoke made a Captain Kirk or a Star Trek reference in their speeches. You can just see that he's like, I've lived with this since the moment I was promoted. You could just see it in his face. Like, yeah, it's a Star Trek joke.
I can see an admiral saying, and as we send the ship off to boldly go where no man has gone before.
They did. They totally said that there was somebody who it was it wasn't the guy it wasn't Maines. It was was it an admiral? No, I think it was a senator. I think it was a senator from Florida who made the references of the ship going boldly and just extremely veiled hints at Star Trek wording and things, which I thought was very cute. The Admiral Zumwalt's son spoke, and he pulled no punches. He was like, I came up here and I was all prepared to do my Vulcan salute and everything. I was like, oh my God. And he goes, and he said, and my wife told me not to because she thought maybe he doesn't have a very good sense of humor. And he goes, so we invited him to dinner, and he came over and find out that they're really big Trekkie. So the good news is Captain Kirk is a Trekkie, and William Shatner was unable to attend the christening. So he sent the crew a letter. He and his wife, I should say, both William Shatner and his wife Elizabeth sent a letter to the crew of the Zumwalt with a photograph that they had framed and now hangs in the ship.
That's amazing.
Which I thought was cool.
Right next to the dedication plaque.
I don't know. I don't know. So I just laughed. Because I thought it was a really unique experience. But I did get to learn a lot about Admiral Zumwalt and why his name was chosen to be the name of the ship and the name of the class. And I thought it was really unique. But the ship cost $7 billion to make, and there's 2 more coming out. So
that's a lot of hard work.
That's a lot of hard work. So
the military is having a great time with James Kirk, because there's another article that I'm looking at that says, get ready for this. The skipper of the newest, most futuristic ship the U.S. Navy has ever built is none other than Captain James Kirk.
Right.
Let that settle in for a second. And
I mean, this poor man, he's got, his whole life. I wonder if he's not that old, right?
No, not at all.
I've seen him. He's really not that old. So I wonder whether or not his parents did it on purpose.
You never know. It's a cruel joke. It's not a cruel joke, but I think it's awesome that he's a captain in the Navy. He now has his own ship. It's the most advanced ship built.
Yep.
And he's the one commanding it. With all the Star Trek references and whatnot, that it's appropriate. I honestly believe it's appropriate. Captain James Kirk should be commanding the most advanced ship the Navy has.
I totally agree.
It needs to be the flagship, but is it?
True.
Well, don't forget what the current definition of flagship is, right?
Okay.
The current definition of flagship is the ship where the admiral sits. So it's typically, there's one in every fleet, and we have multiple fleets. So, although a destroyer would never be a flagship, it's typically a carrier. I only know that because Alan and I went on a cruise, and we spent a whole week with a guy who was the captain of a carrier that every time the admiral stepped on board was the flagship. As he kept reminding us, we were the flagship every time the admiral stepped on board.
There you go. Yeah.
So he was cool. I miss him. He was a good man. Now, did you guys hear the controversy that came out about not just Kate Mulgrew, but a couple of well-known physicists? And
what is going through that woman's head?
Well, this was her post on Facebook after it became a thing. Quote, I understand there's been some controversy about my participation in a documentary called The Principle. Let me assure everyone that I completely agree with the eminent physicist Lawrence Krauss, who was himself misrepresented in the film and who has written a succinct rebuttal in Slate. I am not a geocentrist, nor am I in any way a proponent of geocentrism. More importantly, I do not subscribe to anything Robert Sungenis has written regarding science and history, and had I known of his involvement, I most certainly would have avoided this documentary. I was a voice for hire and a misinformed one at that. I apologize for the confusion that my voice on this trailer may have caused. Kate Mulgrew.
Okay, so they misinformed her. She was duped.
She was totally duped.
That
and I
so
think
not cool.
Krauss and Kaku, is it Michio Kaku? Dr. Kaku? I think he was duped too. What they do is they get these people in, they say this is what our documentary is going to be about. They ask them legitimate questions, they answer them, and then they splice up.
Yeah, they cut it any way they want, so it supports their point, not what was actually said.
And that was the problem, is that nobody knew that this Sungenis guy was involved. And for those who do not know who Mr. Sungenis is, he is a pretty well-known geocentrist. That means he believes that the sun revolves around the earth, and he's also a Holocaust denier. He's written several pieces of material.
That's a double whammy if I ever heard one.
And it's so frustrating to see that, somebody that you care about, including these 2 physicists for me, that all 3 of them got duped so poorly.
But what gets me is like with the technology that we have today and the confirmations that have been proved. Hey, hell, go to Google. It'll tell you that the Earth goes around the sun and not the sun goes around the Earth. I mean, what the hell's wrong with these people today? That's like
they think it's all a conspiracy. Remember?
Yeah, and there's a club, and I think they're called I heard this about 20 years ago, and I could be wrong.
The Flat Earth Society, huh?
Yes, I was thinking Flat Plate Society, but it's the Flat Earth Society, and they honestly believe that the Earth is flat.
Yeah,
huh?
They've never been in a hot air balloon.
Apparently not. Oh my God.
Shit, that was hilarious. So
But-
yeah.
So
Oh,
this guy who's a geocentric hired Kate Mulgrew, got some other well-known people to voice things, and then he cut it up, mixed it up, and now Kate Mulgrew is looking like a crazy person.
Right. Isn't that sad?
That is sad.
I really did. I felt so sorry for her because I thought to myself, I've seen her speak. I've seen or I've read what she's written. I had a very, very difficult time believing that she held such divergent beliefs. And now I'm relaxed to find out, no, she doesn't. It was just that she was duped. And it was probably because, I feel sorry for whoever, pointed her in the direction of doing that job because they're probably fired by now.
That's what I was thinking. I would hate to have been the person that said, "Hey, Kate, I got a project for you." Next thing you know, my number is blocked.
Exactly. That would be me too.
Or worse.
Yeah.
But you gotta think of it this way: as an actor or an actress, and you take these projects, and I'm sure the money's good. You're thinking that you're going to be doing something that's well thought out, well scripted, researched, and then to come to find out it was a scam, and now you're looking like a crazy, you're looking like an idiot to the world over somebody's belief. That's has been proven to be false. I don't. Yeah. I understand why Kate Mulgrew put out that, statement.
Oh, so do I. Because
is there legal steps you can take?
Oh, probably not.
Depends on the contract.
Yeah, it depends on the contract. I'm sure the contract was general enough that she agreed to it, and she got the money for it. So they've adhered to their end of the contract. Yeah, that's it.
Because
love those contracts of adhesion, right, baby?
Right. Right. It was sort of like when Brad Pitt was filming Interview with a Vampire with Tom Cruise. And Brad Pitt, all he wanted to do was get out of it. He didn't want to do it no more because he couldn't stand Tom Cruise. He says, "How much money do I have to pay to get out of this contract?" And they came back and said $25 million. So he made the movie. Wow. So it depends on the contract,
Right. Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
It just seems it's somewhat slanderous. I mean, her reputation was, if someone caught the video but didn't catch her apology, there are lots of people out there thinking that she's this nutbag.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's true.
Well, like one of the lines in the movies, Kate Mulgrew says, "Everything that we've learned about the universe is wrong." But see, that could be taken in different ways. So, we used to learn that the world went around the sun went around the earth. We learned that it was wrong. But see, what this person did is saying that everyone believes that the world is round, it goes around the sun, and he is saying in his movie that is wrong, using Kate Mulgrew's voice.
Exactly. It's really frustrating.
It just
and
sounds
sad.
like totally BS. I don't know.
You're right. It is. Well, I'm putting another link into the chat room, and that is news for those of you who are living in, around, or want to travel to the Dallas area. Dallas Comic Con, which is coming up next month in May, will have a Firefly and a Star Trek: The Next Generation reunion. Also, a reunion from Nightmare on Elm Street, which doesn't thrill me personally, but it might some of our listeners. So, if you live in the Dallas area, the convention will be between May 16th and 8th. Stanley will be there, William Shatner will be there, Christopher Lloyd will be there. But I thought the Firefly reunion was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's worth seeing. The Firefly reunion.
I wish I lived closer to Dallas.
Oh my goodness, I know.
I know, poor Michael. It's okay. What else is new? Oh, we got this copy of a wonderful article that follows up on the comics. Did you see this, Mike?
I don't think so.
Eric Gator posted it. Eric Gator 1 posted it on Facebook, and I read it, and I thought, that's kind of cool. A place called Visionary Trek, and they're going to be beginning a new project. Here's how I can say it. Here's it go. It says, the project has some amazing talent, contributing their takes on different aspects and eras of this history, and I asked for a few of them for feedback. Their response was terrific, and they were delighted to help me in this, my project. Keith R.A. DeCandido is looking back at Wildstorm, in which he wrote a 4-part miniseries called Perchance to Dream. Writing Perchance to Dream was one of the first things I ever did for Star Trek, and writing that miniseries still has a warm place in my heart, he said. It was fun to look back on the cool stuff Wildstorm did and how their brief tenure influenced other lines of comics. Heath also wrote IDW Alien Spotlight Klingons, which deals with Kang from Kirk's era to just before the DS9 episode Blood Oath. Dayton Ward has the best gig to me as he looks at the second run of the Marvel line. So what he's doing is he's got some wonderful Star Trek novelists, writers, comic writers to come in and do kind of a retrospective on the comics that were published for Star Trek. So give that article a thorough read and follow up on his project called New Life and New Civilizations, Exploring Star Trek Comics.
That does look interesting. If you scroll down at the bottom, look at the cover. You got Kirk, Spock, and Bones yelling at this red shirt who's reading a comic, listening to a record player with a McDonald's Happy Meal at his feet. Awesome.
Sitting on a Horta.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound very healthy.
Not at all.
That red shirt.
Sounds like he's about to die.
Before we get into oh no,
what's going on?
Gary, there it is. Okay, I'll just use this one and everybody can use the on Kotaku, but also on Facebook.
Bless you.
I'm gonna use the face. Yeah, I know Kotaku. They're my former enemy, but whatever. I don't work for Massively anymore.
Yeah. I was sad when you left.
I'm having issues with my cutting and pasting today. What the heck is wrong with
Control C, Control V.
The problem. There we go. Have you ever heard about this new Star Trek game for browsers or for tablets and phones? I think it's a mobile game.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's supposed to be it's a browser-based game, though.
It's the strategic one, right?
It's Timelines?
Yes.
So I'm glad that you have, because today was the first day I'd heard of it. I am clueless. Can somebody fill me in on what's going on here?
Oh, the link is not working.
God,
you know what's funny is I was on Gamers Anonymous on Trek Radio, and we actually talked about this game, Trek Timelines.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the link. Holy cow, hurry up, link.
Here's the Facebook page. I'll put that one in there too.
So it's a Star Trek strategy role-playing game that allows fans to build their dream crew out of characters from every generation of the television series. And it's the name of the company that's publishing it is Disruptor Beam, believe it or not. That's the name of the developing company. And they're developing a mobile, for mobile and browsers. Star Trek Timelines is a story-driven social game that allows players to explore the galaxy, tackling problems through combat, science, or diplomacy while collecting resources and building the ultimate starship. And so that's what it is. It's a strategic game, and you.
Wait a minute! You actually play with the actual Star Trek characters?
You sure do.
Oh.
What? You don't like that?
No.
Well, the CEO says we want to create a new generation of strategy games for tablet and mobile devices, and one that is large and deep as the Star Trek universe itself. And the CEO grew up watching the franchise and always had a special place in his heart for it. So he wanted to create this game, Star Trek Timelines, for for the mobile and not necessarily the PC.
So it's going to be like Farmville for Star Trek.
Yeah. And it's something you would be like. Let's say you're traveling, you're at the airport, and you're waiting for your flight.
I read.
You would be playing. Yeah, you either play the game or read a book or read your Kindle or something like that. But that's what Star Trek Timeline is about, and it's a story-driven game.
It's got story.
Yeah, I'm not. What I'm waiting for ultimately, I just want to do DOS on my tablet. right now.
I would love for Star Trek Online to do that, where we have an app and we could do our DOF missions on our phones. That'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be? I'm just saying. I want DOFs.
Because I'm the type that if I had a little DOF mini app like that playing on my computer, and I have a mission that comes up where there's a chance of them dying, I would pick the ugliest DOFs to go to that mission. That's just me. I don't know why I do that. Maybe it's an insecurity that I have, but I would send the ugly ones to go die, and all the pretty ones can stay.
Don't tell me that. All of the ugly ones are common, right?
That is correct.
Okay, I can understand that.
Exactly.
They're just trash.
They're trash.
I, as a captain, look at you and go, you are useless. Useless.
Exactly. I would send the white ones, then the green, but I won't send the blue or purple because I want them.
No,
they're valuable.
I know much better than to waste good, hard blue and purple DOFs.
Exactly.
Oh my God, too funny. Well, let's get to Star Trek Online then. Yay!
I want to play Star Trek Online.
Engineering here. Warp engines are online.
Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
Your ship.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Your crew.
Move out.
Your destiny.
Star Trek Online. So the new
George Silsby wrote, "I would send my Tellarites, but I don't let Tellarites on my ship."
Well,
Apparently he doesn't like ham. I don't know.
They are rather cranky. I love Tellarites in small doses.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Chip Harums.
I miss Chip very, very much. By the way, I heard from Frank, just so you know. Let's see. Chip, by the way, still character we all love from Star Trek Reunion. Oh, I miss them. I wonder how is Oliver doing. He's a busy boy still.
He's in school.
Brilliant young man. So busy. We all so busy. Okay, so season 9 comes out for Star Trek Online on the 22nd?
April 22nd, 2014.
Get here fast enough. I will finish my tier 5 Dyson in the next few days, and then I will be caught up. I'm looking for new stuff to do.
Oh, we'll be doing stuff after the 22nd. We're going to have some grinding going on. Oh, that came out wrong, didn't it? We're going to have some grinding going on.
It's going to be, I'm assuming there's a new reputation system coming out.
Yes, the Undine reputation. Tim Russ will return as Admiral Tuvok, commanding the USS Voyager. When that comes back, Tuvok will return in at least 2 more missions after A Step Between Stars. So that's going to be interesting.
That's very cool. That actually makes me very, very happy.
And there's... go ahead. I was just going to say there's a larger battlefield-like ground adventure zone, possibly featuring ground vehicles. So that's in the ground adventure zone in the Dyson Sphere. That's interesting. And there's 2 new STFs that are coming out. Undine Assault, in which players attempt to save one of 4 planets from being destroyed by the Undine Planet Killer. And Undine Infiltration, in which players must interrogate Bajorans and attempt to weed out who is an Undine and who isn't. And one thing that I like about this infiltration one, Bajorans do not like to be, they love their freedom. Bajorans love their freedom. And when you're trying to determine who's an Undine, you got to send them to an interrogation camp. And if you get too many Bajorans in there, they're going to get feisty and they're going to fight back. So we'll see how that goes. But those are the 2 new STLs.
Christine, what have you done to me? Kestrel! That's actually kind of interesting. You know what, though? What I think is going to be funny is I can pretty much guarantee that gamers will hate that.
Yeah.
Because it means they have to think.
Exactly.
Did I say that out loud?
And she'll be here all week. Try the veal.
What was that, Mikey?
Maybe even read.
Oh!
He'll be here all week. Try the veal.
Oh, that was great.
No, but this is some good stuff. You know, there's going to be a new military-involved fleet holding. The military-involved fleet holding was revealed as the Dyson Sphere fleet holding in Season 8. It says no new fleet holdings for Season 9.
Aww.
Okay, whatever. Then there's decisive improvements on perks for lifetime subscribers.
Oh, that's about time.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
I wish I knew.
We'd probably a triple.
Still in German.
Yeah, exactly.
We did lose someone though. Everybody knows that Bran Flakes is no longer with our pictorial.
He did not die.
He did not die, but he left.
I heard about that. I did hear about that.
Well, it is good news. I mean, he and his partner are moving back to Southern California. We will find out what Brandon is up to. I want to say he said on the 21st or something?
Yes.
21st or 22nd when he'll...
Some new plans.
Some new plans or possibly his new employer. and whatnot.
He will be
But
taking over the world.
knowing him, probably. And we're gonna miss him. We're gonna miss Bran Flakes over at Star Trek Online. We're gonna miss him at Perfect World. And congratulations to him and to Pat for all of the big life changes. But dude, we're gonna miss you. That was
he's a good guy. I sort of wish I knew what he was doing next so I can follow, but we can always follow him on Twitter.
You can follow him on Twitter. He's changed his Twitter handle to Redacted Bran. So if you want, which means that it'll probably last for a couple of weeks before he changes his name yet again to whatever it is, what new persona he will be carrying. But good luck to him.
Whenever I hear the word redacted, it reminds me of that TV show Eureka. And
I love that show.
That was a great show. And then that one guy would come out and he would, run these people through tests, and then he would redact them if they failed. Yeah, he goes redacted. So.
Oh, the Wally Shawn character.
Yes.
Oh my God, he was so funny. I miss that show so much. See, I miss lighthearted shows like that. I really do. Oh, and speaking of lighthearted shows, people know that one of my favorite actors is Eddie McClintock. He plays what's his face from Warehouse 13, Pete Latimer from Warehouse 13. Eddie McClintock. They finished up Warehouse 13. The final 6 episodes start tomorrow night.
Oh, so soon.
Sci-fi.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's on Warehouse on Sci-Fi. But Eddie posted on his Facebook page a picture of his of a piece of material, I should say, kind of like a folder, a copy of a folder, and it had the Castle logo on it. And he confirmed that he appears in the final episode of Castle for this season.
Yeah,
so
I saw the trailer at the end of last week's episode.
I'm very happy for Eddie. I'm glad he got some good work. I'm glad that he's associated with Castle now, because that's a nice gig to get.
And I'm also saving that show up to binge watch as well.
Castle's fun. It's a lighthearted procedural. You can't go wrong, right? It's like I tell everybody, it's like Murder, She Wrote for our generation. It's harmless.
Yeah,
it's a harmless, fun show.
That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy.
I used to watch Murder, She Wrote.
I did too.
I used to watch that all the time.
It's like Murder, She Wrote, but it's for our generation. There is nothing. It is a perfectly harmless show, which is part of the reason why I like it so much, because it makes me laugh. And they'll be standing. There's nothing better than having a group of people, a group of characters that you adore, standing over a dead body and cracking jokes.
And there's Nathan Fillion, so there's all kinds of references in it.
Oh, there's Star Trek references in it. There's Firefly references in it. I mean, even his character dressed up as Mal for Halloween one year in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But what was so great is, my one of my new bosses is a huge Castle fan, and he has no clue who Nathan Fillion is.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Oh my God.
Dead serious. He has no. He doesn't get the in jokes because he's not a fan. He's not a geek. He's a typical. Anthony will understand this. He's a typical Phoenix insurance guy. He's all about the golf.
Oh, okay. Dude. Yeah. Good point. All right, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I particularly like the steampunk episode.
Oh, that's funny.
What was that?
I particularly like the steampunk episode where he dressed up and went to that steampunk nightclub bar thing. I don't know, it was kind of cool.
I think my favorite one was the Star Trek episode where they were at the convention and it was, a Star Trek-esque television show.
They couldn't do Star Trek because...
Right. But so they made up this fake show and had people...
on the bridge.
And Jonathan Frakes directed it, and he made it because Jonathan Frakes always appears. He always has a cameo in everything he directs. Did you know that?
I did not.
I did not know that. He's another Stan Lee.
He is another Stan Lee. Jonathan Frakes makes an appearance in every single thing he directs. And in this particular episode, he directed the episode. It was the Star Trek one. And he was like this really big fan of Richard Castle, and so he's standing in line to get his books on.
How funny!
Right on.
That's funny.
It was so funny. And also this week, if you guys are fans of another lighthearted show called The Librarian, it was a series of films that were made for TNT starred Noah Wyle and Jane Curtin and Bob Newhart. Hilarious, fun.
He played
Indiana
like God,
Jones type.
didn't he?
What?
Bob Newhart. He played this god-like figure.
He plays the librarian's boss with Jane Curtin. Yeah.
He'd come out of the wall and do all kinds of. I love Bob Newhart.
I
He's
love
a very
Bob
quirky
Newhart.
character.
He's hilarious.
The show was actually produced by Dean Devlin, who, if you don't know who he is the executive producer for the Independence Day movies, and also is very tight-knit and also did the show Leverage.
Okay.
He produced the Librarian movies as well, and has just announced that TNT has done a pickup of it so far of 10 episodes of a new series based on the Librarian, starring Rebecca Romaine as the new kind of, you know how the Librarian always has like the CIA bodyguard?
Yes.
Yeah, she's going to play that type of character. Christian Kane, who played the thug, or I shouldn't say the thug, but the heavy hitter in Leverage, he's going to be a librarian as well. They're bringing in multiple people now, so it's going to be more of a team effort. Noah Wiley, Bob Newhart, and Jane Curtin will all make recurring character appearances, as will John Larroquette.
Oh, cool!
It just sounds like fun. Again, it's finally we're starting to see some of the return to unscripted television. It's like, thank you. So done with the dark.
It's kind of, wasn't it kind of like predecessor to Warehouse 13?
I would say that I think they were both heavily inspired by. It wasn't what was the old? It wasn't Nightmare on Elm Street. What was it that they did for the television series that dealt with possessed items?
No, that was Nightmare on Elm Street.
It was. It was Nightmare on Elm Street. Okay. I think that Warehouse 13 was heavily inspired by that, and then I think that the Librarian was heavily inspired by it as well. I think they kind of came out of the same place of that Indiana Jonesy kind of fun.
Yeah, I think the Librarian came out first before House 13, though. At least the first film.
I think you're right.
Because there were, three films?
There's three films, right.
Yeah.
Again, two of which were directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. So if you haven't checked them out, check out The Librarian.
Yeah, they're very sweet, family-oriented films. You can sit your kids down in front of this and not have a worry in the world.
Can we see that on Netflix, or where will we find that?
I bet you could. I own them on DVD. So
you do? Okay. Because the films came out in 2004, 2006, and 2008. Every 2 years, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to look it up.
And they're such sweet, wonderful films. Like I said, they're in that adventure, that Indiana Jones type of adventure. They're not, but they're definitely toned down a little bit for a younger. They're definitely family oriented. That Dean Devlin wanted to make a very family oriented adventure show. So they're very sweet, and that's without being cloying. You know what I mean? They're not
right.
But they're fun. And Noah Wiley, so he's just such a great. So the only reason why he can't make the regular appearances is because, of course, he's still on Falling Skies, which apparently is doing well enough that they keep renewing it. So
it's an interesting sci-fi series. Although the end of the season and the beginning of the next season, there's so much time has passed, and time has passed in the story. It's kind of like, whoa, you're getting to know these characters all over again. So much has happened in their lives since then. So it's kind of an interesting way to tell a story. It's not. It'll end on a cliffhanger, and then it's like the cliffhanger you're kind of like dealing with like in past tense. It was kind of odd the last season, but it's cool. I like it.
Well, I think what I'd want to do is I want to watch the 3 movies before I watch the TV series on TNT. That way I can have a better flavor of what's going on, even though there's going to be a new set of characters.
And I'd agree. And I think that you'll find, I think that you would find that they're all really, really fun. They're just really and they're funny. I mean, again, it's one of those things. I like adventure films where I'm laughing my ass off through most of it, which is why I love the Indiana Jones stuff. It's why I like even some of the old 50s adventure movies, where they're kind of tongue-in-cheek. That's a good way of saying it. The Librarians are very tongue-in-cheek.
Well, that's good. It's better than all that CSI stuff and crime scene and all this. People always get murdered and they're trying to solve crimes.
Right.
I'm tired of those dark I think that's why I actually stopped watching a lot of television. Got tired of shows like that. I like something that's lighthearted, that's entertaining, and this sounds wholesome enough where you can sit with a 10-year-old next to you and not have to be embarrassed of something that was said on the show.
You could have a great marathon day with a 10-year-old by your ear. They're really that fun.
Oh, that's good. That's something that I've been looking forward to for a long time.
I highly recommend them.
Then I will start watching.
So I think, again, there wasn't a whole lot of, the only other news about Star Trek Online, getting back to Star Trek Online, was that one of the other things that we're going to be looking forward to is a completely revamped ESD. I haven't been back on Tribble since I patched it the first time, so I don't know if additional changes have been made. And it looks like Alan's having a little issue getting off and on.
I see.
Can I say something about
chat
that?
room or
Yeah.
Can I give you my theory of what's going to happen with ESD?
Okay.
I could be totally wrong, and I hope it's not a spoiler because I don't know if this is fact or not. This is something that I've come up with. I honestly believe that the Undine are going to come and attack ESD and damage it, which is why we're getting the new one. And we're going to have to repel them in the initial attack. It jacks up the base, and then we have to get it repaired, and that's how we get the new ESD that we see on Tribble.
If they make a story reason for it, I think that would be freaking awesome, don't you?
I think it'd be amazing. I would love to do it. I would love to be part of that, you know? That'd be so cool.
it would be cool for like a massive STF type thing, where it's like you and like 20 other players.
Like a 20-man.
Yeah.
Like a raid. That would be fun.
Yeah, that's what
That
I'm
would
thinking.
be cool.
That's what I'm thinking.
Very interesting theory. Very interesting theory. I like it. Now, if only it's true.
I know. Now, whether that remains to be true, I have dreams every night. It's not like all of them come true, so, go figure.
Some of the dreams I have, I think that's a good idea.
Exactly.
That's a good thing. Now, last week, we're going to start a conversation, Mr. Battles. We're going to start a conversation where we're going to kind of bring everybody up to speed. 2 weeks ago, Mike, was it? Did we do the fan film?
Last week.
It was last week. Okay. Last week, we touched on the discussion regarding the unofficial productions at Star Trek, unofficial productions, and some of the concerns Sorry had started to express regarding.
Not just me, it's
on the
one
show.
of the communities that I belong to. They brought it to my attention, and
And kind of why don't you reiterate what some of the concerns that you had expressed on their behalf?
Well, some of the concerns was in regards to certain fan productions. For instance, Renegades with their third fundraiser, there was like no transparency, no accountability. We don't know where this money was spent. We were told that it was going to be spent for the whole production the first 2 times, and yet now their fundraiser was for visual effects. And it's like, what happened to the visual effects fund as part of the first 2? So, there was a lot of people in panic mode and wondering what the hell's going on here. And there was a lot of demand for accountability or transparency in some form. And in a nutshell, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and so we had an interesting discussion about donating to crowdfunding or crowdsourcing these unofficial productions. And last week, in response to some of the things that I had been receiving, I had received a couple of, I get messages, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I get a few messages. Mike got a few messages, and I'm not sure, although I'm not sure if we can really take credit for it, but we're going to anyways, because, it's the G&T show. That after our show was aired and the word kind of got out that there's a more public voice to the concerns about how these unofficial productions are gaining their funding and how disappointed we are in that some of them, not all of them, we have to be very, very clear that not all of these fan productions are as quiet about their productions as others are. Like we don't want to use Renegades over and over again, but they are a good example of they'll throw out a new Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or an Indiegogo or something for additional upgrades to special effects or props or something like that, instead of having clearly outlined original stretch goals in their original crowdsourcing effort. And so people started to ask me, well, which ones are good and which ones are bad? So I felt like we had to do a formal response on our forums. So I did a formal response on our forums where I pretty much tell people, yeah, you know what, we're not here to tell you which ones are good or which ones are bad. I think they're all good. I think all of these people have very good intentions. We all know that they're producing something. I don't think that Tim Russ and Walter Koenig and Sky Conway are going around not doing their work with Renegades. I just happen to think that Renegades is that big a project. I think it's one of those projects that keeps growing and growing and growing, and they want to produce the best thing possible.
So are they trying to basically get enough money to produce these episodes that are almost movie-like? Is that what's going on?
If Mike, I would have to say yes, don't you?
I think what they keep trying to do with Renegades is build a pilot that's viable for TV. And of course, that means all the special effects have to be high caliber, blah blah blah. And so they keep upping the ante because they see what other people are doing, and it's like they need to be above everyone else because their goal, their intention is to be seen, put in front of CBS with a hope of a pickup. I don't know. I've heard that it originally was supposed to be 1 hour. Then I've heard that it was a 2-hour film pilot. So who knows exactly? But like Terry said, they keep upping the ante, or they keep, it keeps growing and growing and growing.
And so they keep asking for money. And again, go ahead. You were going to say something, Anthony?
I know. I'm looking at the cast. I'm like, no wonder they need all this money. Do you see who's in the cast?
The cast.
This is supposed to be a fan fiction film or a series.
Right.
And generally that's low budget. But when you get all these big name actors in it, they're going to say, well, how much are you going to pay me? So maybe that's where all their money is going. And now they're like, well, we need more money for the CGI.
No, I really do believe that, we know that principal filming is done. We know the actors have been done. The actors have been paid. Now I think what they really are doing is finding out that they can, if they have that ability in post-production now and get better quality special effects, CG,
Right.
Have you seen some of the... And so on the heels of last week's show, oddly enough, Renegades started to post additional photos and screen caps of some of the shit they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yay! That's good news. Keep your constituents
really nice.
Informed. They're beautiful. That Klingon bird of prey.
Oh, the battle cruiser? Oh,
yeah.
I got that as my new wallpaper.
Oh, do you really? I'm actually looking at that ship right now.
It's beautiful.
It is a pretty ship.
That's the kind of quality of special effects that we're looking at.
And actually, that's not even full rendered yet.
Right.
From what they're saying. That's not even fully rendered. And I'm like, oh yeah.
So again, it's one of those things where they're asking for more money, but what our question was is, well, can you give us a hint as to what it's for? And now they're starting to do that. So thank you to everybody over at Star Trek Renegades. Thank you to everybody with Axanar and Continues. And I know people at Equinox are having a really, really rough time, but you guys, you'll find a way to get through it, and good luck. So Mike, tell me what was going on with Alec. Can you discuss that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. Alec Peters, who is our friend from Axanar, he's putting on that fan production. He had a meeting with CBS this week. He went in and didn't really discuss what they discussed, but when he came out of the meeting, he started putting together a fan film advisory council. Based on what he had said, it sounds like they're going to start policing fan films themselves so CBS doesn't have to. And I just came across a mission statement.
Oh, fantastic.
Mission statement. This group is for Starfleet. Oh, wait. This is the Star Trek Filmmakers Association. I'm not sure if this is the same thing.
Oh, okay. It might be different then.
It might be a different thing. But, but from what I understand, he is trying to organize a group of an advisory council, a group to kind of sort of oversee and make sure that, people's concerns about fan productions, fan films, that they're all being addressed, that that there's accountability, there's transparency, and that things are actually going to be made, especially if they're going to be taking money from fans.
Yay! And again, the G&T show will take total credit.
Nice.
I think that if Mike hadn't have brought up the episode, hadn't have brought up his concerns in the episode, we hadn't have aired those concerns, and it's a big concern because that's what our show is about. Our show wants to support all forms of Star Trek storytelling, even the unofficial stuff, whether it's fan fiction, fan animation, fan productions, films, television, whatever. And the one goal that we all have together is the fact that we all maintain the ability to freely tell those tales. And when there's somebody who's acting in a way that we felt that was endangering that, is that a good way of putting it, Michael?
Yes, that threatens to
bring down the CBS hammer. When that hammer comes down, everybody, when that hammer comes down, it's not going to come down just on one.
It's going to come down on everyone hard, and it's going to ruin everything.
It'll ruin everything, and it'll piss us off, and it'll break my heart, and I don't want that to happen. So we're asking everybody to straighten up and fly right. And if you are a fan production of Star Trek and you are involved in any type of crowdsourcing or crowdfunding, we ask you, please, please, please get in touch with Alec Peters and enroll yourselves in your self-policing and become much more transparent to the fans to show this is where your money is going. This is how your money is being used. And whether or not it's low budget or not, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed if you're low budget. Wear it proudly and say, yeah, we're low budget. It's the story that matters, right?
It is the story that matters.
Yeah, exactly. You can have the best writing in the world and bad graphics, but if the story is
if
great,
it moves people,
yeah, they're gonna.
What matters more?
That's all that matters, to be honest.
Agreed.
With you. I mean, you got to look at it this way. Back in Desilu Productions, back in 1966, they had some ship against a black screen and on some strings, and yet we all fell in love.
The transporter effect was glitter on a black background.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And we love it 50 years later.
I still watch it.
We obsess over it 50 years later.
We obsess over it 50 years later. It's true. We also heard some really fun news this week that Mark Cushman, whom we adore, and wrote These Are the Voyages, which book, when is book 2 out, Mikey?
It should be out May. I think it hit. Well, I think it's currently available through the. It just hit Australia.
Okay.
I think it's currently available through the publisher. It should be hitting Amazon in May, if I'm not mistaken.
For those of you who, and for our listeners who may not know, Mark Cushman was a writer for Star Trek. He wrote the story for Sarek, one of the best TNG episodes ever. He was, how should I say it, left with? He was the beneficiary of, that's the best way of saying it. He was the beneficiary of about 80 boxes of internal memoranda and other wonderful papers from Robert Justman and Gene Roddenberry, and was able to reproduce kind of a unique way of telling the stories about what happened during the production of the original series. And each book takes on every single episode, and each book represents one season. So These Are the Voyages, Season 1 covers the first season of the original series. Book 2, which is Season 2, comes out in May. Mike's read all of Season 1. I have not yet. I'm only about a third of the way through, but fascinating reading.
I'm about, I think I'm about halfway through Season 2 right now.
Right. It's fascinating. These are unlicensed books, by the way. These are, how do we say, the unofficial story. But be that as it may, Mark Cushman and our friends from Star Trek Continues, including Vic Mignogna, have been, or were asked, I guess, by the people over at Disney to come in and do a presentation about their involvement, not just with Star Trek, but with Star Trek Continues, and kind of how their fan production works. So
What happened was there was a tweet. Okay, let's tell the story correctly.
We all freaked out. Let's tell the story.
Yeah, we all freaked out. And a Facebook post, and
right.
It just simply said, me, Vic, and Mark met with Disney Animation for a presentation about TOS. That's all it said.
Right.
So for 2 days,
it was poorly worded.
I squeaked for 2 days straight, because what came to my mind was new Star Trek animated series.
Yeah,
No.
we all kind of freaked out because we thought, oh my God, the people from Continues have met with Disney, and why would they be meeting with Disney, and what are they pitching to Disney? Yeah, well, we were wrong, but that's okay. I had a feeling that was wrong. I couldn't imagine that would have happened, really. Not without CBS making an announcement and I getting a little ticker on because I own stock in Disney. Full disclosure, I would have gotten a little press release about something like that.
Well, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a pre-thing where they're getting together, gauging everyone's interest to come up with like an idea in order to go to approach CBS and say, hey, let's do this, baby.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, and I was like, oh my god, for 2 days straight, just squealing nonstop. That was me.
I was very glad to hear that there was a clarification of the photograph and the meeting. But I'm excited because it brought everything back down to earth. But it's also very fun for the people who are involved with Star Trek Continues because, once again, I mean, Star Trek Continues really is getting a lot of press. They're getting a lot of press worldwide about the quality of their production, not just in writing, but in acting and in lighting and special effects.
With them, it's about story.
Right.
I just introduced a friend of mine and his daughter to Star Trek Continues. In fact, my friend Bruce, he sat in for 2 episodes. His daughter sat in and watched Lolani. And I was watching and I was like trying to pay attention to all the special effects, and there weren't really all that many, and but you didn't miss it because the stories were so good,
right?
And they loved it, and Bruce's daughter, she just absolutely was amazed by Lolani. I mean,
oh, that's great.
So,
that's very, very cool. I'm just very happy for them. I'm happy for all Star Trek fan productions right now and I'm very grateful to all of them for responding in the past week the way that they have. With class and with distinction by saying, you know what, Renegade started posting stuff about where they're at within the context of their post-production. It continues. We've never really had to worry about because they post everything
first. They showed us.
They post everything, and then we have to go, oh, what's going on? Axanar, we don't have to worry about much either because Alec tends to post things ahead of time saying this is where we're at. Not the least of which is the artists that are involved with Axanar are very vocal as well. All of the ship designers and stuff like that. So we know who these people are that are involved in all of these projects. And we're just very grateful that all of you are starting to realize that, we were a little worried there. There was a few things that when it came to crowdsourcing, again, knowing full well that when a person puts money into a crowdsourcing thing, it's considered to be a gift, that there's really no recourse. But the fact of the matter is people do have an expectation that when they do give you a gift, that you're going to use it in the way that you said that you would. Have to prove to them that you're doing it. So thank you to all of the crowdsourced fan productions that have come out of the woodwork, not even come out of the woodwork, but have come out and have said, this is where we're at, this is how we're going about it. And even though you may be asking for more money, as long as you keep it clear as to how that money is being used, everybody will be happy. Okay?
Right. When you look at it from a business standpoint, crowdsourcing is almost like a startup company with a venture capitalist. They have to pitch to the venture capitalists and say, this is our idea, this is how we want to develop a business. Right. If the venture capitalist agrees, it gives them the money, then they got to go and start creating what they said they were going to do. But they still have to go back to the venture capitalists and say, this is what we've been doing with the money. They have to provide an accounting of every dollar that they receive. And when you got companies... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say you are correct in one way, except for the fact that when it comes to crowdsourcing, cannot expect any return on that investment. None.
Right.
Zero.
Right.
But it doesn't
the best
mean
we can
that
hope for is just entertainment. Good entertainment, hopefully.
Right. But it doesn't mean that I think Anthony's right, though. I think most people would expect some kind of an accounting of I think all of us just want to make sure that these people aren't pocketing the money.
Exactly.
Yes. That's something.
Hey guys, we're going to make a Star Trek movie, or we're going to make a Star Trek fan film, but we need you to provide us money to do that, and then all they're doing is going out to dinner with it. See, that's not cool.
Right. And I think that that's what we really wanted to make sure wasn't occurring, and our fans and our listeners were appropriately concerned in some areas, but I think a lot of those concerns were addressed this week. If you have donated to a crowdsourced production, follow them. Get on their Twitter pages, ask them questions, and make sure that you're getting the information that you want that shows, does it look like it's really going to happen? And then take into consideration that there are some projects that are far greater in scope as far as the costs are concerned, and others are going to be done on a much cheaper dime or a much cheaper budget than others. And
they range. Support them. I mean, there's a wide range. I mean, everything from basic. There's comets. There's audio dramas, there's, films, there's TV shows, the range is wide, and, it's actually a good time to be a Star Trek fan.
It really is. I think it is. There's a lot, and there's so much potential. There's so much potential going on right now. The news that we're going to get another film in time for the 50th anniversary is good. I thought it was interesting. I'm wondering, to be honest with you guys, I'm wondering whether or not they're already in production or in pre-production. We know that the script is done.
Yeah, but they're being so quiet about it if they are.
They're being really quiet about it.
I just don't want Spock yelling Khan again.
I hope not either. I really hope not. Did everybody know that Star Wars is already filming?
I did hear about that.
I did hear about that as well.
Also very quiet.
Very quiet. For JJ, that's saying something.
I know.
That's a good thing, though.
I think it's a great thing.
Who wants the spoilers before you even see the film?
We all know that Peter Mayhew's going to be back as Chewbacca.
Chewie, yes.
Which means, and everybody, of course, was like, if you were a Star Wars fan, like we are Star Trek fans, having Chewie alive at that point in time means that the entire expanded universe is dead. Because Chewie is dead in the books.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
And that's why the Star Wars fans are kind of like dealing with they had been told over and over and over again, sorry Dayton, but we're bringing the canon thing in. But there's a lot of people, the Star Wars fans, are like, but it was canon. Lucas told us it was canon. Well, yeah, Disney decided to say, yeah, you know what? We say it's not canon. It's all gone now, baby.
That guy in the chat room says Disney gag order. That's probably why JJ is so quiet on that front.
Thank God.
Well, some of the rumors that I've heard is that there'll be cameos by Princess Leia and Han Solo and Luke Skywalker.
I think it's going to be more than just cameo.
Yeah, so that's what I hear. But now that it's been said that there's a gag order, maybe that's just people saying, just to be saying.
What's funny is that JJ's notorious for having these gag orders, right? Notorious for having gag orders. And yet we still get more information, typically through bad leaks or misdirecting leaks. He's always about the misdirection, right? Disney doesn't work that way. Disney's, we don't want any of your political bullshit.
Pretty much.
Just keep your mouth shut and make your movie. And I love that about Disney, because I don't know what I would have done if I had known what would have happened in Captain America 2. I love the fact that I had no clue how that was going to work out. I didn't know who the Winter Soldier was until right before the film, and I'm kind of bummed that I knew walking into it. But I liked not knowing, and so I'm very happy to hear that we're not hearing very much about the filming of the new Star Trek film. By the way, did we ever hear who the director was?
I don't know. No, I don't remember it.
No, I don't know.
I don't either. And I'm wondering, are they filming and we just don't know who the director is, or are we a little bit?
I have a question for you guys. I want to stretch your imagination. What is the name of Han Solo and Princess Leia's daughter?
I have no idea.
Something Solo. Is it anybody in the audience know? Jana something Solo? Well, the question is, could you see Miley Cyrus playing it?
Jaina.
Okay.
Jaina.
Yeah, and she's force sensitive. Can you see Miley Cyrus playing her?
To Wrecking Ball.
Would you want to see? No. As a legitimate actress playing this role of a young Jedi force sensitive, person. Could you see Miley Cyrus? There was a rumor about Miley Cyrus being in the movie, so I was just throwing that out there.
Actually, I could. No, I have a different point of view on Miley Cyrus than most people.
I as well. I think she knows what she's doing.
I absolutely adore her. I think she's very talented. I think she's very smart. And people always freak out when their virgins lose their virginity, which is why she's making so much money. And she's doing nothing different from any other person from Cyndi Lauper on down. Lady Gaga's pissed because she's old now, right?
Right. Go figure, right?
And crazy bitch plays better when you're young. Madonna proved that. That's right. Cyndi Lauper, except Cyndi Lauper, she's like one of those few people that's got the personality to play crazy bitch for the rest of her life.
Right.
I love her. So I love that kind of persona, and I just don't believe that that's the way Miley is in real life. She's just put on her persona, and I understood her tour was amazing. And
she's an actress. Of course she's, that's why if people actually believe that she's insane or she's crazy or she's this or that, then she's doing her job. She's not like that in real life, and people don't realize that at all. she's never been arrested. She's never. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be interesting. It also would make sense considering her history with Disney.
There you go. She's just trying to break free of that Hannah Montana thing. But someone posed
took care of that.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
with a wrecking ball, right?
Honey, I think most women, if they say, "Oh wow, what a whore," I'm like, fuck that. I'm just jealous that I don't have that body. Damn, woman, you look great. That's me.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But that's just because I have that mentality that, you know, I try not to tear other women down. I try not to. I have to say that we do it. Women are bad enough. Women are so hard on other women because we're trained to be that way, and I'm trying to break that training.
You know, well, good on you on that, because I know for a fact that with women, there's always a competition between each other.
Because you're told that's the way you are. You always tear down another woman. To what end, I'm not sure. Because I think we're told that we're not allowed to have self-esteem to begin with, and so therefore nobody else should have. Seriously, I think that's what it is. I think, you know, women aren't supposed to have pride, or they're not supposed to be sexy. They're not supposed to be sexual. And if you see somebody else who's actually expressing that part of themselves, you're told that that's wrong, and therefore you should take it. And it's sad.
It is. It is so interesting to me where you get these girls, they're in a room, and some of the guys are paying them attention, but then a prettier girl walks in a room, and then all of a sudden that prettier girl is a slut or a whore, or look at those shoes. How could she go out of the house looking like that? Now they're tearing her down, don't even know her.
Right.
She could possibly be their best friend in the world in the future, but they're not giving her that chance.
Right. That's exactly it. And we are trained to be that way from day one. That's how women are supposed to treat. A girl doesn't act that way. A woman doesn't act that way. How is, you know, like, took me a few decades to shed that.
That's so true. That's so true.
And that was like the whole the BS that somebody asked me why I tweeted about Jerry Lewis last night. Well, Jerry Lewis is just an old man trying to get into some form of heaven now. Oh my God. Sorry, something in the chat room just
What the hell is that?
I don't know.
Oh
but Jerry Lewis posted,
slave girl Leia.
And Jerry Lewis said something
I
about
wouldn't save her.
Women couldn't be funny if they were crude, because, you know, how appalling he thought it was when he heard a woman cuss and thought, God, she makes babies. I kid you not.
What?
So I posted a small 140 characters or less tirade on Twitter last night and pretty much told Jerry Lewis to go fuck himself. And I kid you not, but it's those kinds of pervasive attitudes. And it's not just about women. It carries over to men too. It works in the exact opposite for men, right? You guys are trained to be butch. You're not allowed to have emotions. You're not.
Right. Yeah, don't cry. Boys, real men don't cry.
And it totally tears you down because you have those feelings and you're told you're not supposed to have them, and you have to bottle them up and be macho or be manly because being female is bad. Remember, women are taught that being female is bad, and men are taught being female is bad. And oh God, it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
We'd all be so much happier if we all just looked at each other in the eye and said, I love you, and cried about it.
You know, there's nothing wrong with showing
and appreciate.
emotions.
I love that photo, by the way.
Oh,
wow.
where they're like fighting?
I don't think that's fighting.
Well, I'm just trying to be nice about it because I could have been like, that photo where I'm about to jump in.
Is that where you're going to jump in on that?
I would jump in on that. I would get right in the middle, make a Black Magnum sandwich. That's what I would do.
For people who are listening to this 3 days after the fact, we are looking at a very provocative photo of a woman dressed as Uhura, who, by the way, is smoking hot.
She is hot. Oh my God, she's amazing.
And a woman who's dressed as Slave Leia, and let's just say the chain leash is being used in a very. Yeah, that's a pretty hot photo. Yep. I have to admit it. And I don't blame Black Magnum for saying that he would make himself a Uhura Leia sandwich with that.
That's what I'm saying. I would totally get in on that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that because women should be able to feel, show themselves as sexy. Yes, they should be able to do that. And men should be able to respect their how they're presenting themselves and respect their personal space, right?
Right.
And men should not take liberties unless invited.
Right.
And it all goes back to what you were saying. Women were taught one way, men were taught another way. And one of the best things that I think needs to happen is education of women to let them know that it's okay to be aggressive. It's okay to go out. And if you see a nice looking man, ask him out and take him out to dinner. And men should also be educated on women so that we know that it is wrong to violate their space without their permission.
Right.
You know?
But I thought it was interesting. Yeah. Somebody put a note or posted a picture, and I want to say it was at WonderCon a couple of weeks ago. Was it WonderCon that happened a couple of weeks ago? Mm-hmm. They had a wonderful sign, and it said everything that you needed to be, that everything you needed to say needed to be said was in that one line, and it said, what was it? It was cosplay, or cosplay is not consent.
Correct.
The way you are dressed is not consent, and I thought perfect because that works. It works in both levels too, because this doesn't work just in one direction, and I don't want men to think, oh, well, women are being... No, we're talking about mutual respect here, and we're all trying to have fun, and if you're dressing as your favorite character, and that favorite character happens to be pretty damn sexy, and you want to express yourself in that fashion, then bully for you. Even the guy that they showed in the Princess Leia slave outfit before, if that makes him feel good, then all the better for it. And I think that's what, in the big scheme of things, I think that's what bothers us, that bothers the greater society, is that somehow self-expression means that, it's some kind of revolution. And I'm all right with that.
I'm perfectly fine with cosplay and I love it. But you got to remember that, and I agree with that statement, cosplay is not consent 110%. Because when these people take the time to make these uniforms or make these costumes, they put it on, they are that character. That's who they are portraying. They are that character. And if that character happens to dress a certain way, which, may please a man's, eyes and his senses, does not mean she is a slut. It does not mean that she says, come and touch me. She's a character. She's an actress, and people need to understand and respect her boundaries.
Agreed. And again, it's just, you wouldn't do that most, I don't know. It's just, to me,
although I did get groped while being, Mace Windu at Comic-Con. A lady.
Did you really?
She came up to me, she goes, oh, you are a beautiful man. And was touching my chest and everything. And I'm in a costume. I am Mace Windu. I look like Samuel Jackson with this purple saber walking around San Diego Comic-Con. This woman's like, you are a beautiful man.
Oh, no.
I should have said cosplay is not consent, woman.
You should have. That would have been funny to tell. I love it. Oh my gosh, no. And see, that's the thing, is that unfortunately there's that, like we said, there's that built-in thing where it's okay for a woman to do that to a guy. And it really isn't. It really isn't.
Double standards are not good.
Are not cool, you guys. It's chill the hell out.
that took me by surprise, because most people are like, can I take your photo? Can I take your photo? Or can I take a photo with you? Or someone would say, can you hold the lightsaber like you're about to cut my head off? and we would take a photo that way. But this woman just didn't say no. You are a beautiful, and I felt hands on my chest. I'm like, oh, I need an adult.
Excuse me, man. The Mace Windu, done your Mace Windu thing going, oh man, yeah, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It is, especially with somebody you don't know. If it had been somebody you knew, like,
that's
if it had been me, you would have expected it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared.
But then again, that goes both ways. I would have expected it from you too.
So yeah,
that's different.
It's just
we've already established that relationship.
Exactly.
So I guess we have to follow up on one thing. Getting towards the end of the show, we haven't even talked about the convention.
Convention news.
Shall we just start right off the bat with a Las Vegas update?
Are we still talking Vegas, right?
We are.
Talking about Vegas.
Yes. You're coming to Vegas, right?
Star Trek Las Vegas may take place every August, but on this show...
This is where we hang out the rest of the year.
Exactly.
The crew has been fatigued now from so many months in space, and they need to take a break. The landing party has been down to check out the terrain while the crew gets ready to play. They say there's only plant life living on this lovely rock, but a rodent appears wearing...
I know. So let's see if there's anybody. The good news is I got my email from Leticia at Nation Entertainment. G&T show is permanently set now. We have our double wide.
Do you have a good location yet?
Booth. We do. We have not yet set our location, but don't forget, people. Kipley Brown will be joining us on Friday and Saturday at the G&T booth. She will be there to meet and talk with fans as well as selling her autographs. She was in Enterprise, but is also probably best known for being the lead in Yesterday Was a Lie, and he will be, word this correctly because I'm under an NDA, she will be making an appearance in episode 3 of Star Trek Continued. Can't tell you how, what, or why.
Oh, man.
I'm looking forward to it then. That's going to be great, because Star Trek Continues really has some awesome story writing, and that Lilani really I'm
freaking out because it's hard not to talk about it because I already know a lot about the story, so I have to.
So later, Terry, we're going to play Star Trek Online together, and I want you to have a couple of drinks in you. And then we're going to talk.
We're going to talk while we PvP.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see. Oh, Peter Weller was added to the guest list for Star Trek convention. He played Admiral Marcus, of course, but also for me it was RoboCop. Who else was there? Cool. We know David Warner. The TNG gang is going to be there. Anybody else? Looks like we have a few new additions. The number of guests has popped up to 70. Bob Blackman, the costume designer for TNG. This will be his first appearance and will be part of Cosplay Saturday program's events to be announced soon.
Oh, cool. He may be a judge then.
I bet he will be. That
cool. That would be awesome.
We know that Tony Todd's going to be there. I can't wait to meet him. I'm going to go out of my way this year to meet Tony Todd. We have to find out. Jeffrey Combs, thank God.
Right
Jeffrey Combs is coming. I'm so excited. This is appearing tentatively on Sunday. He's one of my favorite. I just love Jeffrey Combs. For those of you who don't know Jeffrey Combs, then shame on you. He played Wayoon Brand in Enterprise. Oh my God, so good. He'll be there. Be there. Robin Curtis, Vaughn Armstrong, Gwyneth Walsh, Hallie Todd, Paul Lynch, Eric Propoint, Jim Metzler, Sirach Lofton has announced. Denise Crosby has announced. Lawrence Montaigne, Drexler, Chris Doohan, Mark Allen Shepard, Kipley Brown, Barry Jackson, Lee Ehrenberg, Tiny Ron, Richard Hurd. Oh, we love Richard Hurd. He's a very vocal man. Remember that, Michael, when we met him? He was talking with Trek Radio. That had to be one of the funniest interviews I'd ever heard.
I think it was you and Nick.
We weren't the one interviewing him. It was Maverick, and I think Maverick just had to. I think he asked him one question, and he sat back, and Richard talked for an hour. It was great.
Right on.
It was great. Well, Richard Hurd, for those of you who may not know or remember in your brain who he is, he's been a bazillion different characters in a bazillion different shows. But for Star Trek, he played Admiral Owen Paris. He played Admiral Paris and LaCour in Birthright. He played the Klingon.
I've seen him in several fan productions as well.
Yeah, he's in Renegades, isn't he?
I think so. I think Renegades, and I want to say that I thought I saw him in one other one. I can't remember what it was right now.
Admiral.
But still, yes, that's awesome.
Cool. Felix Silla, he's a regular at the Star Trek convention. He's a little person who played, Cousin It. He was also in the TOS episode, The Cage. Would remember as the Telosian. He always comes to the convention, and he's a sweetie. You'll see him in the vendor's room. Carol Stryken, who is an amazing photographer. I want to put that up front. Carol Stryken, to me, is more of a photographer than he is an actor because he has this amazing eye. But you'll remember him as he played Lurch in The Addams Family and the Giant in Twin Peaks. But he was also Mr. Holm, I
remember him as Mr. Holm. I like him as Mr. Holm.
It was very sweet. Carol Stryken is an amazing photographer. So if you guys get to meet him in the vendor's room, ask him about his photography. He will be more than happy to show you his samples of his work because he's really. And then Duncan Rager, who played Beverly's lover Ronan in Sub Rosa, will be there as well. There is one cancellation.
Who's that?
Please don't say Dr. Phlox. Please don't say Dr. Phlox.
No, Ronald D. Moore will not be able able to make it because he'll be working on his new show. So there we go. Update for the convention.
That sounds like an exciting group of people that's going to be attending.
And they're expecting another 30 some odd guests before it goes live in July.
It's getting better every year.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, 20. Are we going to see you there, Mr. Magnum?
I'm still trying. I still plan on going. I'm going to try and make it there. July is booked up for me. I'm going to be in. That'll be twice. I'll be in Vegas in that within July and August. So I'm still planning on going, but I'll definitely try and make that. I definitely want to be there for Nick.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so
that would be great. Oh.
Well. Can I say a happy birthday to someone real quick?
Absolutely.
I just watched again the movie Star Trek Nemesis. And I just want to say happy birthday to Ron Perlman, who played Raymond Viceroy in Star Trek Nemesis.
I love Ron Perlman.
He's one of my favorite actors. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and The Beast, and he's probably. I don't think I've ever seen. Well, wait a minute, that's not true. He's done Sons of Anarchy, right?
He's done Sons of Anarchy, Beauty and the Beast TV series, Hellboy. So I loved him as Hellboy. So
I did too.
And I've seen him in loads of low budget films as well. So I do like him as an actor. He's very entertaining. So happy birthday to Ron.
And not the least of which is he's a really, really cool guy.
Yeah.
Just I love the fact that he showed up to help that, to that little sick boy's hospital dressed as Hellboy. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
You've got it.
That's
Google
cool.
that. Google him up and find out that he got a letter. I guess he got a letter from a boy in hospital or something like that, where he wanted to be. I guess it was like the Make-A-Wish thing, where he wanted to meet Hellboy, and he got wind of it, and he said, "Oh, you're not sending somebody else," and so he spent like 5 hours in the makeup chair to go out there and meet him.
That is so cool. I'm gonna post a link of that. Hold on.
I just love him. I mean, he's just a really cool guy and a wonderful actor, an amazing actor, really.
Yes, and I just put the link in there, and it says Ron Perlman visits child in full Hellboy makeup for Make-A-Wish, and you see him sitting there and the boy's, he has that little grin on his face.
He's like, grin on his face, doesn't he? It's like, oh my God,
cool.
this is awesome.
Right on. So cool. Yeah.
You got to look at that.
That's so cool.
That's just freaking cool. It's just freaking cool.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, Michael, what announcements do we have?
Life has been hectic and crazy for me, so.
That's all right.
We haven't had a book club in a while. We want to get it going again, but things have been so crazy.
It's been nuts.
So, if you can help us out, please send us an email, hosts@gntshow.com. Let's see what else. I can't think of anything else. Check us out on Mixcloud. Check us out on YouTube. Like us, share us, the whole spiel.
Yeah, and to Mr. Magnum.
Oh, well, you can follow me on Twitter @Anthony Battles, all one word, and I'll let you know what I'm up to. But yeah, I got I have some things in the works right now, but I'm also doing a podcast called Club 602. It hasn't been published yet, but we already have 14 episodes, and eventually I'll be getting those out so that people will be able to hear them.
I love that. I'm so excited for you guys. I think that's wonderful. Another partner podcast.
Yes, definitely.
Our friends. What's funny is that in the Star Trek community, to our listeners, to our Star Trek community, the podcasters, we really realize that in the big scheme of things, there is no such thing as competition because we all do this out of the love of our hearts, and we really do support each other.
The truth is, we hang out at Vegas, and what we do is we secretly have phaser duels on Stun.
And we have. It's so true. I mean,
only one shall be victorious.
I can't wait to see the guys from Priority One. I can't wait to see anybody who else is from 602 who might be able to show. I can't wait to see people from Direct Radio. It's just a really great community to belong to. So listen to all of them.
Yeah, please listen to all the podcasts because people do it for the love of it. I'm a big fan of Terry, Nick, and Mike. I love the GNT show. So to me, they're one of the better podcasts out there. So make sure you listen every week and listen to the others as well because it's all for the love.
It is all for the love.
Who do I petition for another hour in the day? I need more time.
I know, right?
I know. Seriously, it's that bad. We have a couple of supplemental logs out there now that you can listen to. Most recently, we spoke with the guys over at 5 Year Mission. Don't forget, they were hilarious, very fun. We're definitely going to have them back. I think we have an upcoming conversation with Keith R.A. DeCandido, which I am totally going to make sure I'm there for. Don't worry, Mike, I'll be there. And we've got other conversations that are currently being scheduled, including a discussion with Al Rivera, the lead designer at Star Trek Online, to talk about the stories that are coming up in season 9. He wanted to talk to us after we played the missions.
Yeah, so at least we'll have story to talk about.
He wanted to talk about the story. He didn't want it to be spoilers. He wanted it to be after. So he wants us to play the missions first, which I thought, well, that's a unique thing. Usually they want to pitch a season before it comes out. Now he wants to talk about it afterwards, which I thought was kind of cool.
Right on.
Who else we got on deck? A few other people. Oh, we still need to talk to First Time Trekker.
Yeah,
you follow her?
I follow her on Twitter.
First Time Trekker?
Follow First Time Trekker.
Let me look her up.
She is relatively new now to the Star Trek world. She was kind of challenged to watch TNG, fell in love with it, and started to live tweet her experiences as she watched each episode. She is finished with Star Trek The Next Generation, and she's now on to TOS, and she is fucking hilarious because it's all snark.
Is it First Time Trekker? Is it at First Time Trek?
Yes.
Is that okay? I'll follow her.
And she's hilarious, and we're going to try and get her on. She's already agreed to be interviewed because it's always unique to talk to a new Star Trek fan, right? Somebody who's new to the genre.
Right.
And so we're going to get her on and talk to her about what her favorite stories are. What is it about Star Trek that she loves? We're going to get her story. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of it. Well, everybody, have a great week. Mr. Black Magnum, just talk to me once again.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
We love having you here.
And
thanks for filling in while Nick was being all Mr. Shooty Boy.
My pleasure. And I look forward to Nick coming back, but I also love sitting in his seat and talking to you.
Thanks. We will see you again soon. And Mike, thanks for everything. As always, have a wonderful day.
Well, my pleasure.
Take care.
Bye.
Music for the G&T show is provided by Warp 11, Grethor, 5 Year Mission, and Andrew Allen's Smooth Federation.
G&T show is a busy little Beaver production.
Gonna take a 5-year tour